Welcome back, folks, to the Membership Machine Show. This episode is the big 100. We've done 100 episodes of this podcast, folks. We have not pod faded. We have just staggered on, folks. But thanks for your support. We're getting more listeners and viewers. It's growing. And I just want to thank you for listening and also the support of my regular co-hosts, Kurt and Haroon, and the guests I've had on the show as well. I will attempt to get more guests. Kurt will hopefully keep supporting the show as well and have a little bit of Haroon as well, and we just mix it up. In this episode, we're going to be discussing how to create sales pages, but also go through why they're really important. And I regularly see people trying to build a membership-based business concentrate, for understandable reasons, on the course, on the membership, and they don't concentrate enough on the message and the key sales pages. A slight problem, in my opinion. I've got my patient and supportive co-host, my regular, Kurt, with me. Kurt, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Absolutely, Jonathan. Thank you. My name is Kurt Von Annen. I run an agency called Mañana No Mas. We focus largely on membership and learning websites, and I work directly with the great folks at WP-Tonic and Lifter LMS.
Thanks for that, Kurt. He done that at the last minute. He pulled down his mic at the last minute. He's moving it all around. Oh, you're right. And like I say, before we go into the meat and potatoes of this really important show, I'm looking forward to this. I've got a message from one of our major sponsors. We will be back in a few moments, folks.
Hi there, e-commerce store owner. At Omnisend, we help more than 100,000 e-commerce customers just like you sell their products. We're an all-in-one email and SMS marketing platform that helps you reach your customers, grow your audience, and increase sales. In fact, our customers have seen incredible results with Omnisend, averaging $72 in revenue for every single dollar spent. And if you ever have a question, our award-winning customer support team is available 24/7 every single day. That's one of the reasons we have more than 6,000 glowing reviews and ratings all across the web. So get started with Omnisend today and start growing your business with better email and SMS marketing.
We're coming back, folks. I also want to point out that we've got a fabulous course. It really shows you how to build your membership website on WordPress from beginning to end with the best tools available in the quickest way possible. And it's done by Kirk himself, and it's aimed at you, the beginner or intermediate, and it shows you the quickest and most powerful way of building a powerful membership website on WordPress with the best tools. Plus, we provide a created list of the best plugins if you're building a membership or community website, and a load of other free resources. You can get all these free goodies by going over to wp-tonic.com/deals, wp-tonic.com/deals, and you can get all the free goodies there. What more could you ask for? So, sales pages, like I said in the intro, folks, it's been a consistent pattern I've observed with dealing with clients. I think Kirk, well, I'm not going to speak for Kirk, but I think he would agree. I'm going to ask his opinion in a minute about this. But to me, it's been a consistent pattern and an understandable pattern of really getting engrossed in the course content, which is important. But as I've consistently said, also is important is avoiding what I call the war and peace syndrome of building a monstrous course. And I'm a member of a few forums and roundtables, Lifter LMS and a few others. And I consistently see people really just concentrate on building out their course, and they're really fearful about actually launching. It's kind of like the moment of truth. but you've got to avoid that. But what you should also do, you really, really need to work out who your target audience is, what their problems really are, what are their things that they really want to get from a course. And you've got to have some sales pages that really talk to that audience in a very direct and powerful way. What do you reckon, Kurt?
There's so much on the subject. There really is. And I think defining, what is a sales page or a landing page as compared to some other page in your website, right? Like, I think it's important to kind of define that. But what Jonathan talked about is absolutely correct. It blows my mind how many people want to be a course creator, want to share wisdom with an audience, with a group of people, and that's not their priority in what they do. They say it's their priority with what they say, but it's not their priority with what they do. Like, they want to do custom CSS and change the color of a button or change the width of this section of the page versus that section of the page. They get distracted by all these things, and in some cases don't even build the stinking course. They're trying to build something, but it's not delivering information to an audience, and it's not attempting to sell that information to an audience, which are the two things that you really need to focus on.
It's about balance, folks.
Yeah.
Having a platform that you can customize the look of your website easily, having a website where you can alter the course layout when you get feedback, it's just great. And that's what you get with WordPress compared to SaaS platforms where you have no options. And when you really want to do those changes, you just can't. So it's great to have choices and options. It's just concentrating on the right elements at the right time. And there's a kind of flow. If you want success, there's a kind of flow to this. And if you get things back to front for understandable reasons, and it's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, plus promote my own business, to be honest about it. But the other reasons were that I really wanted to get across to the audience this most important message. It's having the freedom to do things, but doing them in the right order at the right time. And a lot of people, for understandable reasons, don't. Would you agree with that, Kurt?
Yeah, I would say if you catch yourself saying things like, oh, I'm going to redesign my course page, or I'm going to redesign my services page, and you haven't launched, and you don't have a single paying student yet, you're focused on the wrong thing.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's really, getting the course layout, getting the course materials in the learning management system, whatever system you're using, is important. And then working on it when you got your feedback and when you want to improve it or put another course in. These are the times to look at that, not when you're launching your first course on your first website. What they should be concentrating is really understanding, if you want success, and we've outlined, all you need. And Kirk was yesterday taking the mickey out of me and out of my favorite number. My favorite number, folks, is 497. $497. That's my favorite number. And that's, if you're going to launch a course and you put enough effort in, it's the 497 price tag, and getting those 100 students or getting 500 students. But getting those first 100 students, it's totally achievable. It's a totally achievable goal. It's not pie in the sky. It's totally achievable. I've said that 3 times to stress it. And it's a damn sight more achievable than other influencers that will tell you that you can sell a course for $1,997 or a course for $5,997 with no credibility, no audience I feel, in my opinion, they're misleading you considerably. What do you reckon, Kurt?
I think you can definitely stair step up to that program. Like maybe you come out with a mini course, and I tell this to people getting started as course creators all the time. They'll give me some kind of strange, 10 section course on this giant subject. And I'm like, hey, let's slow down. Let's just do the first 2 or 3 sections as a mini course, sell that for $29.95, $50, $75, whatever. Dip your toes in the water, see if you can get any interest, and then blow it out to the big course, load it up for $497, and you've got some skin in the game. You've got some energy in your website. You've got users. You have an audience that you can market to. But to think you're just going to come out as a no name, no experience, no audience and sell something for $500, that is a stretch. Unless I make an exception. If you're like a speaker, coach, or author, and you have published a book and the course is the sister product to a book that's been well received, readers will join if the message is strong enough. But that's going against what Jonathan just said. That would be someone that is known, that has an audience, right? So
well, I think depends. I think at the 497, if you've been on a couple podcasts, you got some online content, and it looks like you know what you're talking about, and your landing page, your sales page, actually talks about the problem that your course solves. I think you're going to get people that buy, because I think the 497, it's not too high for people to take a punt.
Yeah.
To take a risk.
Yeah.
I think when you get above that, they really need a lot more reassurance, online reassurance, and a lot
video
more
testimonials and things that back up the value.
Yeah, that's my position. I'm not saying I'm right, but it's just my honest opinion. I love your feedback, folks, what you think. But also I think you can get a lot from the bootstrap startup world when it comes to why your landing page, your sales pages are so important. There's a podcast, Startups for the Rest of Us, by Rob Rowling, and there's an enormous amount of advice in the startup bootstrap world around what makes a good sales page. What are the key things? One message, one call for action, minimum navigation.
Yeah.
You don't want to offer too much navigation. It's totally the opposite of your website. You want people, Google wants to see that people go to a particular page on your website, and then Google wants you to see people going to other pages of your website. It's going to be one of the key measures of how Google sees the success of your website. When it comes to a sales page, it's totally the opposite. You don't want them to be moving off, because you want them to do one action, one thing, either sign up for that newsletter, get that free digital resource, or sign up for your course. You want one action. So you don't want navigational options on that page. What do you say about that, Kurt?
Yeah, that leads me to kind of what I said at the very beginning of the show, and that's like defining what this sales page or landing page really is. Because a lot of folks might think it's just a page in the website, and they'll use the same template, which gives you all the same navigation options and all those things. Whereas a real sales page, landing page, you might remove, the header at the top with the navigation options and things, and just focus on a single message. And I think it's important to kind of recognize, as Jonathan's saying, what is the intention, and then some of the other concerns you might have with other pages in your site. What's the intention versus what you're trying to really do with your whole project as a whole. I think it is a separate piece from the whole project.
Yeah, and I like good design. I like my MA was in graphic design. So I really like good design. I think it's important. But it's been scientifically proven with sales pages, the simpler. But I think there is a balance here. I think you can have a good looking sales page, but you've got to understand that you don't want multiple options. It has one purpose. And if you don't have that one purpose really clear before you make the sales page, I think that's a problem. I think, and the more we've discussed this, and Kirk's been part of these shows where we've discussed it, where you need your niche, you need to understand your target audience. The more focused you are, the more research you've done on, or the more you feel that you know about this ideal customer, this target audience, and the more you can write it down, you should be able to explain straight away who your target audience is. And you should be able to do it coherently in one sentence or two sentences at the most. If it takes you 10 minutes to do a wander, as I call it, to explain who your target audience is, I think you've got a problem. I think, and it's going to show, and it's one of the major reasons why you might have a fantastic course that really helps your target audience, folks, but you ain't going to get any traction if you can't explain it really easily in one or two sentences, who it is and how they're going to be helped. I think you've got a major problem. What do you reckon, Kurt?
I agree 100%. It's you've got to be able to focus down. We say CTA, that call to action. That call to action has to be really well defined and articulate, and it has to hit that audience, right between the eyes.
Yeah, it's all kind of linked, folks. So let's say you've done the homework, you've listened to a few of these episodes, folks. You learned from it, which I hope you have. And you've done your research. You really know who your target niche is. You're not going too broad. Like I have people say to me, folks, well, I've lost a lot of weight and I've got a lot of knowledge. And they have lost, they've lost 80, 90 pounds. And they say, well, so it's an enormous audience and I've got this knowledge to share with people. And it's great. It's very unlikely they're going to be successful because it's just so many players in that.
Yeah.
So much noise in that sector. And to find your client and get through the noise, you either need you need to be a top level influencer, or you need a considerable budget for paid advertising to get through the noise.
Yep.
Now, if they said to me, like, I've used it, well, losing, after pregnancy, getting rid of that pregnancy weight, I've got experience and I've got a methodology that followed, makes it easier for ladies to do that if they want to do that. Or I'm just drawing out that example, or I don't know, somebody that wants to get a certain weight loss through a certain type of exercise or something. It's a more of a niche. It's a more of a target audience. I think they stand a chance if they sort out their sales copy and their focus. They stand a chance. What do you reckon, Kurt?
Yeah, the weight loss category is a really great example, Jonathan, because you could have, a weight loss program on, people that have that ball and chain locking them to the cubicle at a corporate job, right? Do you sit at a cubicle all day? Are you suffering with lower back pain and a poofy belly? Right? We can solve that. People that mountain bike, people that hike, people that mountain climb. There's, how many people do we know personally that have like running courses? I know 3 or 4 people that teach people how to run, and they're fairly successful at it. But it's because one runs ultra marathons, one runs 5 and 10Ks, they get specific about what the goal is and how they're going to get their user to that goal. And I think that is really important in the messaging, so that it's specific, it's niched, and there is a goal.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect, because it just comes to my mind. I know a lot of people that do running, they suffer from injuries. If you had a course, help you consistently run and avoid injuries,
Yep.
that could be a good message for your landing page, couldn't it?
Yeah.
We love our running, but we all suffer from these injuries, and we keep having these injuries, and we get to a certain level in our running, and then we go backwards. Well, with my course, we show you how you can consistently keep running and avoid injury.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I know nothing about, I do a lot of walking. I don't do a lot of running. So I don't know, but I'm just surmising that because I've known a lot of people that have done a lot of running, and then they suffer from a lot of injuries.
Yeah. And, that's a really great example, though, the running, right? Because the average listener is going to hear this and go, running is like fast walking. Everybody can run. And what you need to understand is when you elevate yourself as a professional or an expert in a certain thing, the most common of things can be a course. Chris Badgett's first course was how to make an omelet, right? You think, oh, you're going to fry up some eggs? Boom. That was his first course, how to make an omelet. It is amazing to me, if you apply yourself, how you can become the expert on just about anything and generate an audience from it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. So also you've got to research your competitors' courses and find that niche. I'd like to say don't have too much navigation on that sales page. You don't want them moving off somewhere else. You want them to stay having a lot of testimonials. The higher the price point, the more credibility, the more testimonials. It's been proven through the history of copywriting and some of the biggest influencers in effective landing pages, sales pages, that long form where that there is a structure. I kind of always pushed a little bit back from it because they tend to be extremely ugly pages. I don't think you need an ugly page. You just need, but I do agree with some of them, and it's very long form. I kind of go in the middle. I think you probably need more supportive copy than you probably think, but I wouldn't go to the extreme that some of the biggest influencers in copywriting and sales pages push. And the reason why is I think people's attention span has reduced through multimedia and YouTube. I just don't think a lot of the audience has the attention span that they used to. But I also think you do need probably more copy on a sales page that really talks about not features, but the benefits of the audience will get from the course, and then a lot of reassurance testimonials. If you get some people to do the course free and then give you some testimonials, it's important. And if it can be a video testimonial, I also have a video of yourself. Maybe it's a good idea talking a little bit about what the course is. But you probably need more copy than you think. But I don't go to the extreme of some of the biggest influencers because I think we're in a slightly different age. What do you reckon, Kurt?
Every time I want to say, don't go long form, someone comes out of the woodwork with something extremely long form and is extremely successful. I think a lot of times as pros in the web space, I think we make an assumption about something that's going to work or not going to work, and then mainstream audiences, show us by their actions that we were mistaken. I don't like the long form stuff at all. I mean, I'm more against it than you are. I think it's horrible And that constant scrolling, especially if you're on a mobile device, is incredibly annoying.
Well, that's
But
the other factor. That is the other factor,
but there's
isn't
a
it?
high conversion rate on those things. And so it's like you go, okay, well, if it's working, it's working. The thing that can create a lot of stickiness to a landing page that's long form like that is narrative, heart-wrenching case studies. So you have so and so was, suffered got 3 stents in their heart and this, that, and the other thing, for a weight loss thing, right? And so it's a heart-wrenching story about someone that almost died, and now they walk their dog every night before dinner and they're 200 pounds lighter. Like, that's a beautiful story. And so if that's written emotionally and long form and sandwiched on both sides by a button that says learn more, submit your name and email, then that's part of that conversion process.
Yeah, so I go the middle ground because I think because of
Yeah.
mobile and because of a reduction in attention, I wouldn't go full. But on AM, I used to bulk against that message completely. I've modified my position. I go the middle ground. But it is important that you work out who your target is. You write powerful copy. There's loads of resources out there that gives you the frameworks about. Obviously, with AI technology, it's really easier to knock out the first round of copy. I then would spend a lot of time editing it and personalizing it. But there's no excuse now of this problem of the blank sheet, because it was, you get writer's block. It's because you got AI now. I'm not saying that you should just write AI when it comes to your sales page. I think that's bonkers, but you can do it so it gives you a layout, and then you're avoiding that blank sheet syndrome. So there's no excuse for it with modern technology.
The underlying message here for all of everything that Jonathan and I are speaking about, though, is we're telling you how to make a killer sales page. You have to have killer content behind the paywall to back it up. Because if you have a killer influential sales page with heart-wrenching case studies and all the things we just talked about, and your product doesn't deliver, then your requests for refunds go up and it makes you a problem for your processors. So you really do diligence. You have to make sure that you don't exaggerate or set the bar too high with your sales page, but you want to be fully descriptive and influential at the same time.
And just to finish off before the first half of the show, folks, in the second half, we're going to be looking at some of the leading plugins and services to help you build sales pages. But just give you some insight here before we go to the second half, folks. People that are really interested in your product or service, your membership, they're going to read every word on that landing page multiple times. If they're interested in your membership, they will read every word on your website. They will. I have quite a large website with the WP-Tonic. It's hundreds of pages. It's over 10 years old. I have people bring up paragraphs of text that I wrote 7 years ago, and they expect me to remember what I said. I can't remember what I said 2 days ago, not alone 7 years ago. But they've spent hours on the website reading almost every page on the website before buying a hosting package from me. And that's what people that are really interested in your membership course, really interested, they're going to read every word on your website. That's why you need to spend more time on the front-facing pages, your About Us page, your home page, your key landing page, sales pages, rather than spending all your time on the course. Just point. Other people, they will, if they're not really interested, they'll be gone in less than 2 minutes. They'll be off somewhere else. But the people that are really interested, they're going to read almost every word on your website.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry to scare you there, folks, but that's the truth. It's the truth. I've been amazed. We're going to go for our break, folks. We'll be back, like I say, in the second half. We'll be looking at some of the leading tools. Hopefully you got some value from this first half. We'll be back in a few moments, folks.
Tired of hosting providers that can't handle high traffic loads? Conversio is here to help. Our platform can handle any amount of traffic, all without slowing down or crashing. With immediate Slack support, performance optimization, and a team that thrives on resolving technical challenges, your e-commerce business is in safe hands. Learn more about Conversio at conversio.com.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lifter LMS, the leading learning management system solution for WordPress. If you or your client are creating any kind of online course, training-based membership website, or any type of e-learning project, Lifter LMS is the most secure, stable, well-supported solution on the market. Go to lifterlms.com and save 20% at checkout with coupon code podcast20. That's podcast20. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Before we go into the second half of the show, we got a sneeze from Kurt.
Sorry. I couldn't get the mute fast enough.
No, caught him out. Before we go into the second half, I want to point out we've got a fantastic free resource for you. That's the Membership Machine Show Facebook group. It's totally free. Just go to Facebook, put in the Membership Machine Show group, and the free group will come up. It's a mixture of WordPress professionals and people like you building a membership course. Love you to sign up. If you've got any questions or there's any subjects that you would like us to cover during the podcast, just join the group and give me some feedback, and Kirk and the other people that help me with the show. And we'd love to have a discussion with you. So just go over to Facebook and join the group. Yeah. Right. Let's look at some of the tools. Obviously, there's SaaS-based tools out there. There's free. There's kind of WordPress plugins. There's hybrids that are plug-in but also use a hosted service. And there's full SaaS solutions, software solution. So there's kind of free solutions here. We're going to not be looking at the leading SaaS providers. We're going to be looking at the WordPress plugin plus the hybrid, which is a WordPress plugin with a bit of SaaS thrown in. And I kind of treat that as a kind of third choice. So you've got WordPress, SaaS, and these hybrid solutions. And now there's another micro divider as well in the WordPress, because a lot of the page builders provide landing page, sales page functionality as well. Yeah. Especially in the world of Gutenberg, Cadence, we're a big support of Cadence WP at WP-Tonic, and we provide our own starter websites, and we're going to in the near future be building out our own library of sales pages. But that's the landscape. Would you agree with my provisional, how I kind of divide the choices in the end of 2024, Kurt?
Yeah, makes sense.
Right, I'm getting a gold star. I'm going to start with one that I don't know too much about, but when I was doing my research and doing my show notes, it seemed to come up a few of the articles that I was reading, and is it called Kubo? Kurbio? Kurbio. Do you know this one at all?
No, other than just researching it right before the show. It's got good reviews, and the price is favorable. But then I go back to, would I make my whole website with this? Would I just make landing pages with it? Like, what would I actually use it for? And that's where I was like, okay, I'm going to talk to Jonathan about this and see where his head's at.
Yeah, I think it's just a landing page. There's a kind of it is confusing for normal people, folks, because you have email marketing platforms like MailChimp, and you've got Kajabi, or you've got Podio, and then you've got MailChimp or MailLite, or there's a lot of cross-fertilizations in these email marketing automation systems. When you take something like, I'm naming some SaaS products, which we're not going to delve in detail in this second half. We're going to be looking at more of the hybrid and WordPress solutions. But something like ActiveCampaign, you can build a newsletter, but they haven't really entered in the sales page market. You got SaaS solutions like Lead Pages. They're one of the bigger ones in the SaaS market, but they're not really big in marketing automation or newsletters, are they? They bought a company that of a friend of mine, Rob Rowling. He developed an email marketing company called Drip, and him and his joint founder, they sold it to Lead Pages, but it's still a separate company. Its focus is e-commerce, but they've kept the two things separate. I think they have combined them a little bit, but they've also kept them separate. So this all causes a lot of confusion for people, because is it a landing page builder? Is it? I just think it causes confusion. Do you think it causes confusion?
I think a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Now with this thing, Curbio, they provide a WordPress plugin, but it is a hybrid. It's a SaaS-based system, and the prices are very attractive. But I haven't used the landing page builder. I haven't used it. I watched some videos and it looked okay. But like I say, the reason why we're bringing it up is that if you do a search on this subject, you're going to come across it, because they're doing a lot of SEO and they're doing a lot of work, and they're turning up on a lot of people's articles. They're probably doing a lot of affiliate marketing and that as well, aren't they?
Yeah, and when you look at their starter site library, you see a lot of familiar looking templates that you might have seen like in the Astra and Cadence, directories, but there was a lot of fresh designs in there too that I thought were more modern or clean looking. And so it's worth taking a look, because like we've both said already, the pricing was real favorable on it.
Yeah, and it starts at around, these are per month. It starts at their personal, starts at $8.25. I'm not sure if you have to pay the whole year up front. I would imagine you might have to, or you can just pay this month to month. A lot of these, they give a month to month, but you have to pay the whole annual amount up front.
It's an annual. You pay it annually up front.
Yeah.
So it's $99 for the first year.
Yeah, so that works out at $8.25. That's what they're saying. Then they've got a plus at $10.75, freelancer at $20.75, and agency, that's multiple websites, at $31. They're not ridiculous prices, and they've got a big library of templates. So I understand why they're getting traction, but I haven't used it myself in anger. So, but I thought we had to talk about it.
Yeah.
A very older solution that's been around quite a bit in WordPress, and it's owned by one of the largest multiple plugin companies in the WordPress space, automotive, is Prod.
Yeah.
What you got to say about this one, Kurt?
Well, you nailed it. It's been around forever. I had projects well over 10 years old that had some SeedProd content in them. I've always found them to be kind of, at the front of things, to be honest with you. I know that they're owned by that big giant company, but it's a product that works. And I've used it successfully. I've had clients use it successfully. Over time, I think I've outgrown it just a hair. We do stuff, at the agency level, we do things a little more independently. But for people that are on the DIY plan, I think that SeedProd is actually a really good product.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the better WordPress solutions out there. It does landing pages. I think they do a bit of email. Well, they're not going to send out the email, and I don't want to get into that conversation because
No.
we'll go off big ways, and we covered this in other episodes of the podcast. Have a look at some of the other episodes. We've gone into how you can effectively do email marketing on WordPress in other episodes. It's the basic starts at $79. They do offer discounts when you first sign up. I never use them because they're just for the first year, and then it converts to their normal prices. And I don't agree with that sales methodology myself, but it's just my opinion. So I've got their normal prices here, and that's $79 for the basic. The plus is $199, Pro $399, and Elite is $599. So it jumps up. I don't know what the difference between the basic and the plus is. I would imagine the basic, because I know this company and they really know how to market things really well, that there's some key functionality missing from the 79 product, and you're probably going to end up with the 199 to get the basic product that you really need. But I'm only surmising because it's been quite a while since I've used this particular product myself.
Yeah, the pro version gives you like Zapier abilities and dynamic text and some what I consider advanced features for most do-it-yourselfers. So I think the plus plan is where a lot of do-it-yourself DIY folks would end up. The thing that is really interesting about Seed Prod, and I don't mean to make this sound like a commercial for Awesome Motive, Jonathan, but I like when I can do my shopping in kind of like in a one place, you know. And I know that goes against a lot of ideologies, but I don't like having to go to 16 different things to do 10 different functions. And with Seed Prod, a DIY person gets access to like WooCommerce templates, landing page templates, website templates, and everything is kind of organized very well there for them. So it's a nice offering, but to your point, that entry level package isn't going to give people what they want. They're going to have to jump up a level.
Yeah, and they're I don't know if their landing page builder seems quite modern, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, and it's real drag and drop friendly.
And like I say, they've got a theme builder, they've got a landing page builder with WooCommerce templates, maintenance mode. They've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
My only thing about this is their problem in a way is the page builders, and we're going to be talking about one right now. I think personally myself, there are a lot of website and page builders in the WordPress space. Some are really aimed at the professional developer, designer, implementer, power implementers. Others are more aimed at the DIY individual. At the DIY, but also covers the implementer and professional. There's really, to my mind, there's two that I would look at, and that's Cadence WP, and the one that we're going to be talking about here is Elementor. Elementor's a bit of a beast, but it has got a big library of landing pages, and then it's got a big third-party community that provide an enormous amount of sales page, landing page templates as well. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts still with Elementor?
Well, you got the beast part right. I used Elementor for well over 2 years before I even understood that there was a whole site kit library in the back end of that thing, and landing page library and all of that stuff. And there is a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to creating a landing page, where that landing page is stored in your website, how to access it, and how to promote it, because it's kind of in a separate menu. But man, the product is sharp.
Yeah, it starts, and it's not really crippled. If you, it's more like, I don't. Do you know what the difference between the Essential $59 and the Advanced Solo is at $79?
I am locked into some previous old agency pricing plan they had, and I'm scared to death of ever letting it lapse. Right. So no, no, I can't answer that because their new pricing, they just changed all their pricing strategies.
They have. I thought this was. I thought myself, this is a little bit. And of course, they also, folks, they've done something that a lot of people do, and they've got their own hosting package. I would never use Elementor with their own hosting package, because you might as well just go to a full SaaS solution in some ways. I think, but other people would totally disagree with me, but I just think you would be best going to a third-party hosting provider and getting the plugin. But there are arguments against that. It's a difficult one, because people say, well, they're going to make sure their hosting really works with it. And if you just want the most easiest route, it's just best to host with them. Makes me a little bit queasy, a little bit. Am I being a bit uncharitable there?
No, I don't think you're being uncharitable at all. I don't like to host, the idea of hosting with them either. When you look at their pricing for, just the page builder, the big difference is, up to 3 sites or up to 25 sites, right? And so when you look at the features, they're super, super similar, right? Yeah. So, are you an agency? Are you building this for customers, or are you, a DIY person? And the difference between 1 site and 3 sites, if you get more features, don't worry about the number of sites, right? If it's the features you want. But when you look between the popular advanced program and the expert program, I think the only difference is really the number of sites.
Yes.
It's
not like you're not getting reduced functionality if you go to the lower ones. The only problem with this is that the next one we're going to be talking about, when it comes to their pricing structures, they're totally opposite of Elementor. They're really easy to follow. The next one, they've got only 2 choices. I just find Elementor, and others are doing this, it's just when you've got 3 choices and then sub-choices, you got like 3 different tables of different pricing choices. I just think that's bonkers. What do you
I agree. It shouldn't be hard for me to figure out what I want to buy. Like, they make it difficult. It's and I'm in the e-learning space. The e-learning space is notorious for this. How many active users per month? How many, and you're like, oh my God, I don't even know I don't know what my budget's gonna be to run this program yet.
Well,
like,
you just look at the hosting solution they've got. They've got 2 choices. They've got WordPress hosting and e-commerce hosting. Even if you go with the hosted solution of their plugin, it's endless choices, isn't it?
Endless.
All right. You need to simplify your pricing structures, Elementor. On to the Divi Builder. Now, Divi Builder in 2025 is in a bit of a quandary because they're fabulous people. When it comes to Divi, and people love it, I would never recommend it. But they're in a transition anyway, because they've been in a transition for a couple of years there. I think in 2025 it's actually going to happen, is that they're moving to utilizing Gutenberg, and they've got Divi 5, and they're going the Gutenberg route. But they've got when you buy Divi, they've only got 2 prices. That's $89, and the next one is a big jump. I'm not using their introductory pricing here. Like I say, with the other pricing, I'm using their normal pricing, and that's $665. They actually bummed that up quite, because it used to be under $300, and they've really bummed that up. They do offer you a massive discount if you're buying it first off. I'm just going with their normal pricing structure. But it's a big difference now between the one site and the multiple site. But it is only two prices, which is totally the opposite to Elementor. They've got an enormous community, and they've got an enormous community of third-party theme and landing page options. And when you sign up, you do have to pay extra to buy one of these, but they've got an enormous community, and it does the job. But then you got this. I think I'm fair in saying this. A couple of times they've made it clear. Well, they indicated that they were going to go fully public and fully live with Divi 5, and then it's backtracked, and then it's been delayed, and I think it's in public beta, but they haven't gone fully public, have they, with Divi 5? Am I right about that?
I don't think they have. I don't
even know where they are with it, because I'm not really part of the Divi world, am I?
No. And here's the thing that I really think this is like a misnomer, and I'm sure someone's going to argue with us. We might get some hate mail on this one, Jonathan. I have clients that use Divi, and they'll say, well, I don't want to use this, or this because I need a front-end developer. I need a front-end editor. And they keep referring to Divi as this front-end thing. And when you use Divi, it says, use the Divi editor, use the front-end editor. But when you go into the front-end editor, it's not less confusing. Like, it's still just, it's not intuitive. It's not easy. It's the learning curve on this tool, to me, is immense. And it'll say, do you want to start from scratch? Do you want to import a template? Do you want to use this library? You click library. It says, do you want to join? No, but join. I don't want to pay more stuff. It's
I personally think Elementor is a bit of a beast. It's got
simpler.
But I actually think it's simpler. You can wrap your mind around it much easier than Divi. But I'm going to get a load of hate mail for saying
we
that.
We will, and the people that love it. So there's different strokes for different folks, horses for courses, all these things. But for me,
I think Gutenberg is easier to use than this.
What is
Gutenberg?
Oh yeah. I mean, you and I could blow through a Cadence site so much more quickly than if we tried to duplicate the effort in Divi. And remember, most of my sites are membership and dynamic content driven with Lifter LMS. Everything in Divi becomes a short code and a CSS this or a CSS that. And that's, if I wanted to dive that deep, I'd let's just face it, I'd be in bricks.
All right. Yeah. I've converted him to bricks, actually. I introduced him to that poison. Right, but it's great. But I consider it, which Kirk is a power implementer stroke developer, whatever those terms mean, because they're meaningless, really. But, I would not recommend that to your average DIY person. OptimMonster, another part of the Automotion family, been around, really was the leader. It really was the only tool in town that really enabled you to kind of do light boxes, pop-ups, land. It really founded automotive. The developer, I actually have forgotten his name, Arthur. I think it's Arthur. I actually interviewed him, a great developer. He actually partnered with the other half of Automatic, and it's still a big part. It has still an enormous presence. So what's your views of OptimMonster?
Well, I absolutely hate every time you build a new website, some kind of pop-up shows up telling you to download OptimMonster. They've definitely They've got the market cornered on, used car salesman techniques. But that said, they've got over 700 templates. They work in multiple platforms. So if you're an agency that works with Shopify or Squarespace or Wix, then they work in those. So it builds that familiarity and consistency for you, cross brand, cross product. But for a DIY person, sometimes, like some of the setup seems very intuitive and very straightforward, but some of the other features can seem a little more involved. And as with anything, there's a learning curve. And so sometimes I wonder if it does, because this talks about sales
Are
pages.
you involved with, because I haven't used this in donkey's years either, are you actively involved with any websites that are using this?
I have 2 or 3 customers that have it, and the most used thing is they have that whole, grow your email list initiative, right? And so they look for cart abandonment and grow your email list, and that's what that's focused on. Not so much on landing pages, sales pages, or even the thing that I remember Opt-in Monster being really good at was you could do A/B testing with Opt-in Monster.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of DIY people really leveraging the awesome tool that A/B testing is.
Well, you need a lot of sign-ups or a lot of traffic to make that
traffic
worth. Most people are wasting their time. They've got other better things to be focusing on, in my opinion.
Yeah, I sound like I'm really contradicting myself, because when we talked about Seed Prod, I was like, I like the one-stop shopping. I like the multiple assets in one deliverable. But I just feel like the Opt-in Monster with their options, I think they're more disconnected and scattered. It's not just for content, it's for all these other functions. And I think
it's
there's
more
too much in
focus.
there.
It's from their background, which was more from email marketing and building up their email list. That's where they were champions on. And then obviously email lists died down, so they kind of focused more. But of the 2 automotive products we're talking about, if you're looking at I would go with CPod. If you're looking at landing pages, sales pages, I think Option Monster is more about email building. That's where the history is from. And finally, we got Thrive Suite. What do you want to say? I'm going to let you open up. What if somebody, when you were doing a consultation and the client said, well, we've just bought Thrive Suite and we want to build our website and our landing pages, what would be your instant response, Kurt?
Hold on. Let me refer you to a couple of other agencies that may be able to serve you better.
It's also owned by Automotive, and I want to point out, folks, there will be show notes. You will be able to go to the WP-Tonic website. I get no affiliate income. There will be no affiliate links to Automotive. They've done me no harm. I don't particularly like them as a company, but they're not evil or anything. It's just certain things they do I don't agree with business-wise. But, other people would say that I'm wrong. So everybody has their opinion. They bought these people, the founder, Sean, and his technical founder, I forgot his name. I haven't spoken to Sean in years, but I did. He came on my show, my other podcast, folks, a couple of times, and he's a really fabulous guy, very intelligent, speaks multiple languages, comes from Switzerland, really. And they really built up a suite of, and they were the first people with Divi to really build the first modern page builder. He actually did it, and it's called Architect.
Yeah, Thrive.
And they actually, I think I'm right, they actually did it at the same time. Divi kind of built a theme with short codes, so I don't classify it as a modern page builder. The era of the WordPress modern page builders started off with Beaver Builder and Animator, but I think Architect were just before those two. And it was a modern drag and drop environment, but when it came to performance and some other elements, it was a bit clunky. And then when Animator came on the market and Beaver Builder, they just, in marketing terms, they got blown away a bit. There was things about Animator that the kind of developer agency user didn't like. It might have been their pricing structure. I can't remember.
The pricing for an agency is not favorable. I mean, it's $300 a year, and that gives you access to work on 5 websites.
Yeah.
So you have to spread that, that cost out, and you have to figure your profitability and margins on that. And that's not incredibly favorable in the Elementor world. For that money, you get 50 sites, or at least that's the program I'm on.
And that's when they were trying to get market share, folks, they were very aggressive.
Yeah.
And Beaver Builder, well, the problem with Beaver Builder, they had 2 elements that were separately priced, and if you wanted both bits, it was quite expensive. And Animator were very aggressive initially, and they still are to some extent. Now, Thrive Suite, they got into email marketing, a quiz builder. These were all separate plugins, and for a while they sold these plugins separately. And then they had their own learning management system, which was a separate plugin. I forgot what they call it actually. And then when they sold to Automotive stopped selling, and you just got to buy all the plugins, and they do all kind of work with one another. And they haven't done much with it. They keep it maintained, updated, but you could say that with all their plugins, they really don't do a lot with them. They just keep them, and they just use a lot of marketing, and it works. But I wouldn't. I just feel I'm biased, but other people, I think for $599 a year, they offer a lot of stuff. But I wrote a blog post last week about them and did a video, or I got to do the video. And I just it's a bit like what Kirk said earlier on. It's nice to have it all in one place. But the problem is, if the fundamental tools, if there's separate tools that do it much better. See, with the learning management system, I think just lift the LMS and LearnDash, just do the learning management part, and you get the quiz builder inbuilt, not as a separate plugin. And when it comes to the landing page, which you're going to be using Architect, there's other page builders that are just better, in my opinion. They're just better. Cadence or Animator, they're just better. So it's a tricky one. I don't know if I'm slagging it off a little bit just based on my biases, really.
And to be fair, I need to kind of walk back my harshness, because I opened up very harsh.
It was harsher than me, Kurt.
For a DIY startup general business, Thrive does have a nice template library. It's got decent tools. It's so in that light, in that use case, it's a very usable product. I think the pricing, it's a little proud on the pricing, right? I just feel that way for a person coming in building their own website. When you get into dynamic content and e-commerce and an LMS on the back end and things like that, it can become a little bit of a boat anchor around some I don't want to say conflicts. It's not like the website goes straight white and it doesn't work, but there's features that might be inhibited, or you might need to design around or add a short code to make work. And the average user that's not an agency is going to get frustrated with that.
Yeah, it's not one thing and the other. I think it's one foot in the WordPress world and 1 foot in the SaaS world. And it is tricky because I'm trying to build something, but I think I've got a clearer understanding of how far you can combine something and keep the flexibility rather than it ending up trying to do everything. And you might as well just go to the world of SaaS, but it is tricky. So I think that's the end of this. I think it's been a great show. So Kirk, what's the best way for people to find out more about you and what you're up to?
Well, to get in touch with me personally, LinkedIn's the jam. I'm the only Kurt Von Ahnen on LinkedIn, so you know you got the right guy. Mañana No Mas is our agency name. And if you go to mañananomas.com, I'd love to work with you on a project.
And they're the Scorn Kings, aren't you?
Scorn Kings.
You're the Scorn King, aren't you?
Yeah, that reminds me of the Doors. I am the Scorn King. I can do anything.
They're the Scorn. If you're into Scorn and you're looking to run it on WordPress, Kirk is the person to talk to. We will be back next week with another great show, hopefully. We see you soon, folks. Bye.